Alright, hey guys, welcome to another quick take video. This one you could probably easily tell what it's going to be about since I have the title and thumbnail. You get the picture already. I feel like I don't need to describe that. So we're just going to be talking about our not good friend, but you know, the guy, William Afton. We're just going to be talking about him and him in Secret of the Mimic. Basically, that's just going to be the whole point of the video, and talking about a few theories that I've seen floating around about him in Secret of the Mimic, and things that I just think don't make a whole lot of sense, but we're just going to talk about that. And for the first time in a long time, this is actually going to be a quick take. It's not going to be a very long video. So anyway, with that, let's actually just kind of get into things here. And first, I just want to briefly talk about William Afton in Secret of the Mimic, just as is right now, where he's got, like, I think there's at least 2 messages. There's one I know of, and I think there's a few other ones, at least one other one, I don't know, but there's one that I know of, and it's the one where he's like, hey, you default on our contract, and then you gotta give us all your stuff, and then you can work for us, and that kind of thing, right? Where he's like, I'm just gonna basically take all your stuff because he defaulted on the contract. And that right there is like stereotypical William Afton, I think, kind of behavior, like scummy businessman William Afton behavior, which kind of almost fits in a little bit with how we see him in the Silver Eyes book, where he's described as a businessman. He's the business partner of Fazbear Entertainment, so it kind of gives me that vibes where it's like he's a scummy businessman, as he's not necessarily like going around killing people evil, but he's like scummy businessman kind of evil, right? And that's how I kind of picture him based off of these messages. It's not that he necessarily is like wanting people to die, but he's like, hey, your stuff's not mine. I'm a scummy businessman. And that kind of carries over a little bit into the theories that were floating around, more particularly right after the game came out. I don't know if people are still talking about them now. I haven't heard anything about them in a little bit, but I thought I would still bring them up here. And I had heard theories floating around, and most of them were actually kind of just memes, but some people were actually talking about them, where William Afton was the one who hit David with his car, and that, like, so William Afton kills David. That's one of the things I heard. Another one I heard, which was even more wild, is that he caused the Fall Fest fire that ended up killing Fiona. And that one's also just kind of like even more wild. I think William Afton had nothing to do with these people's deaths. One, it would be extremely awful if, well, maybe not awful, but like I would almost feel like rude if you take these unfortunate tragic accidents and then say, well, actually, it was, you know, malicious intent behind these actions. Like, I think for Edwin as a character, and this works too with the whole, like, there's the little, not JPEG, but like the little GIF of a silhouetted figure walking around one of the offices in one of the backgrounds. Then people are like, it's Edwin, he's alive. And like, I don't know, maybe it is, maybe it's not. I'm hoping it's not, because I think Edwin as a character is a tragic character. If you take everything pretty much going on in this life, except for him, you know, being snuffed out by Fazbear Entertainment, as like accidents, like you have he marries Fiona, right? And it's like, oh, it's great. And then they have David, oh, it's great. And then she goes to Fall Fest and she dies in a horrible accident, and it's like it leaves him scarred. But then he makes the mimic to you know, take her place, kind of, but it won't fully take her place in his heart, but you know, like whatever. And then David dies, and it's like even more tragic, and he's like, he's just lost even more to his life. And it was a tragic accident, and he lost more in his life. And then he beats up the mimic, and then he's losing his company to Fazbear Entertainment, and employees are leaving, and they're kind of like going behind his back. And so basically everything in his life is just kind of like going downhill, and then the mimic comes back and blows him up, and he dies. I think that works a lot better as a character trope. So this idea that all these events are actually just caused by William Afton, I think is kind of like off-putting there a little bit, because it takes away from the tragedy of Edwin as a character if you have William Afton just being the guy who's doing all the bad things in this guy's life. Like, I get that certain people can do bad things more than once. Like, I get that. But I feel like if you just take everything wrong that happened in Edwin's life and just say that it was only William Afton, that's kind of detracting from the fact that life is also filled with accidents and can happen. Like, there can be tragedies that happen in life in general. So I think it kind of moves William Afton from like this guy who ends up becoming a little bit more of a supervillain, but like around this time he's just a guy, and it sort of takes him from being like a little bit of a scummy, not great person to like on par with like deities, because he can just like basically cause everything wrong to go on in somebody's life. Like, it's not that, I guess, extensive, but to me it just sort of takes away from the story and the characters if it's like, well, William Afton did everything wrong. And I also don't know why people want that, because everybody was so up in arms about William Afton coming back in the new games as like a big villain, like in Security Breach and in Help Wanted. Nobody wanted that, and they're like, boo, we don't want William Afton back. And so they kind of like changed things around, and I've talked about that, but that's not a place here. Why do you want that to happen again then? Now, why do you want this new game to have William Afton just be everything wrong with it? Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be like, well, we want this game to have William Afton be like a big hidden villain who is doing a whole bunch of bad stuff behind the scenes, but then these other games, we don't want him in there. Like, to me, it just doesn't work that way. Also, I'm kind of negating the fact that there's absolutely zero evidence of William Afton having caused the Fall Fest fire or having caused, I guess, / hit David with his car. There's zero evidence for that, like, at all. So, minus the fact that it just sort of seems like it would take away from the story and characterization if they did that. There's also, like, zero evidence for that. So, just wanted to put that across here as well. If there is evidence, if there's something that I've missed, then obviously let me know down in the comments. I am always open to new evidence or things being shown to me. But on this, I'm a little bit more solid on my standpoint here that, like, it just doesn't make sense to me that this would be a thing. It just sort of doesn't work for me at all. Especially in the, like, late 70s. It just seems way too early for William Afton to be doing this kind of stuff. Like, he's got Fredbear's to be worrying about. I don't think he'd be going around doing this sort of thing yet. But that's sort of beside the point. I just think, like, there's no evidence, and this is a big thing, a big problem that I have with theories nowadays. I won't get into it too much here because I want to keep this short. But the idea that, like, and I brought this up in other videos too, other problems with FNAF theories videos, and it's this idea that, like, everything has to be connected. Like, there can't just be a random accident tragedy. Like, it has to have some larger connection to other characters. There can't just be something that happened. And so, like, that's another thing too, I guess, kind of with that. I shouldn't really talk about it here because it doesn't really pertain to the video. But more evidence of Secret of the Mimic is Arnold. There's so many people I've seen around there that are like, Arnold, it has some sort of connection to Bonnie Bro / Cassie's dad / Cassie in general. And it's like, what? Or maybe he's just a guy. Like, I don't know. We've had just a guy show up before in FNAF 2, right? Jeremy, right? That's his name, the night guard guy. He's just a guy. So why can't Arnold just be a guy? And why can't Fiona and David's death just be accidents? Why do they have to connect to William Afton and be some sort of grandiose connected story? Why can't they just be tragic accidents? Because I feel like that almost hits home more than having William Afton get his grubby little fingers in there again and being all evil and killing people in the 1970s. I just think, like, the story-wise, it just works a lot better if you don't go that route. So anyway, that's just sort of it. I'll leave it here. I could probably ramble on about stuff longer, but I will save that for a different time. Anyway, so that's gonna be it. We'll just kind of rapid fire this outro. Shameless plug, shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys very much. I do appreciate it for you guys being my channel members, and I appreciate everything that you do for the channel. And if you want to be a channel member, other people who are maybe watching this, it's down below. You can become a channel member. There's also other Shameless Plugs down there, so go check those out. And yeah, with that, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you around in the next video. Goodbye.